In a small village in Japan, long before the world knew his name, a young boy named Soichiro Honda was born into poverty. His father repaired bicycles for a living, and little Honda spent his childhood watching broken machines come back to life through his father's hands. He wasn't born rich. He wasn't born talented, but he was born curious. He loved the smell of oil, the sound of metal, the magic of turning wrenches. At just 12 years old, he built his first go-kart out of scrap parts. When he rode it through the village, people laughed. But that sound of the little engine roaring became the sound of his dream. By the time he was 15, Honda left his village. He had no money, no education, and nowhere to sleep. But he had a goal: to work with real machines. In Tokyo, he joined a small auto repair shop. He swept floors, changed tires, cleaned engines, and slept beside greasy machines. His hands were always dirty, but his heart was full of purpose. Years passed. He learned every sound an engine could make, every smell of burning oil, every secret hidden inside metal. But deep inside, he wasn't satisfied repairing other people's dreams. He wanted to create his own. So he started a small workshop and began experimenting with piston rings, dreaming of selling them to Toyota. For years, he worked day and night, often skipping meals, melting metal himself, burning his hands, perfecting every detail. Finally, when he thought his design was perfect, he presented it to Toyota. But Toyota rejected it. They said it wasn't up to their standard. His years of effort had failed. Most people would give up. But Soichiro didn't know how to quit. He enrolled in an engineering school to learn what he didn't know. Teachers laughed because he was older than most students, but he didn't care. He rebuilt, redesigned, and tried again. And the second time, Toyota approved. His piston rings were finally accepted. He thought his dream had started. But then came World War II. The factory he built, his pride, his hope, was bombed to ashes. The machines were destroyed, the workers gone, the dream burned to the ground. When he finally rebuilt a small section, a massive earthquake hit Japan, destroying it all again. Imagine that. Years of hard work erased by forces beyond his control. He said later, "Success is 99% failure." And that's when he truly meant it. When the war ended, Japan was broken. People had no food, no fuel, no future. But Honda saw opportunity in disaster. He noticed that people needed to move, to go to work, to rebuild their lives. He took a small two-stroke engine, attached it to a bicycle, and called it his motorized bike. At first, people laughed again. But soon, orders started coming in from all over Japan. His first factory, Honda Technical Research Institute, was born. A few years later, that small workshop became Honda Motor Company. And their first big invention, the Dream D motorcycle, changed everything. It was called Dream for a reason. It symbolized freedom, movement, hope. And in a country recovering from war, that dream spread fast. Within 10 years, Honda became the largest motorcycle producer in Japan. But Soichiro wasn't satisfied. He wanted to go global. People told him, "You can't compete with America. You're just a small company from Japan." But those words didn't break him. They built him. He looked west, at Harley-Davidson, at Triumph, and decided to do the impossible. He sent his bikes to the United States with one simple message: "You meet the nicest people on a Honda." It was genius. It changed how people saw motorcycles. No longer were they only for rebels or racers. They were for families, students, dreamers. The Honda Cub became the most popular motorcycle in the world. Over 100 million sold. But Honda's dream didn't stop there. He said, "I don't just build motorcycles. I build engines of human dreams." He wanted to make cars that could challenge the biggest automakers in the world. Everyone thought he was crazy. Japan's economy was weak. America ruled the roads. But Honda believed in the impossible. In the 1960s, Honda released the Civic. Small, efficient, affordable. When the oil crisis hit America, the Civic became the car everyone wanted. It was reliable, simple, and smart. Everything American cars weren't at the time. Soon after came the Accord, a car that defined reliability for decades. Honda had gone from a village boy fixing bicycles to competing with Ford and General Motors on their own soil. And when critics asked him why he risked so much, he said, "The value of life can be measured by how many times your soul has been deeply stirred." To him, failure was never the end. It was part of the process. He once said, "Many dream of success. To me, success can only come after countless failures." He turned every fall into a rise, every rejection into fuel. By the 1980s, Honda had entered Formula One racing, challenging Ferrari and McLaren, the best in the world. His engines began winning championships. And just like that, the name Honda stood for power, precision, and perseverance. But even after becoming one of the richest men in Japan, Soichiro remained humble. He often walked into factories wearing simple clothes. He would check machines himself, joke with workers, and remind them of the company's purpose. Don't build products for money. Build them for people. He believed that passion, not profit, was the real fuel of success. In 1991, Soichiro Honda passed away. But even today, every time someone starts a Honda car or bike, his spirit comes alive. Think about it. A poor boy who dropped out of school, rejected by Toyota, lost his factory in war, and faced earthquakes, became the founder of one of the most trusted brands in the world. He didn't wait for the perfect moment. He created it. He didn't look for miracles. He built them. So what does Honda teach us today? That failure is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. That dreams are not given. They're earned. That real success isn't about luck. It's about relentless effort, day after day, year after year. And maybe, just maybe, the reason only a few people succeed is because only a few are willing to keep going when life breaks them apart. So the next time you fail, the next time people laugh, remember the boy who built engines out of ashes, the man who turned rejection into revolution, Soichiro Honda. Because greatness doesn't start with opportunity. It starts with obsession. And success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the relentless. Never forget, the engine that moves the world isn't made of metal. It's made of courage,